Good morning, madam. You look absolutely marvelous.
Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you forgetting something?
Well, it's only Thursday. Tell me I'm supposed
Never
to say.
mind. I think I need you to say it every morning.
Very well. Oh, madam, you look younger every day.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you very much.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week, we're doing a special request. I'll start out the episode with a shout out to our listener, Ryan, who's the only good Ryan, who did very important things for us that we still won't tell you what they are. We're very mysterious. We're not open books. We keep it close to the chest. But Ryan did amazing things. He's an amazing man. And he said, will you do this one thing for me? And we said, no, actually, at first.
We said maybe.
We said maybe.
We said at some point. And then we said, what about right away? Yeah.
We said maybe within the year. And then instead, we did it literally immediately. Because all you got to do is think about it for one more second. And you're like, wait a minute. Death Becomes Her is kind of the slayest movie of all time.
It's a slay. Thank you, Ryan.
It is. And actually, we have all been throwing it out at various points for the last 2 years. It just has never quite made it onto the schedule before.
Yeah, and
it felt right.
And Ryan helped us remember, with the help of Sydney, that we do say in our intro the words black comedy every time. And very often we say, oh, we can't do a black comedy. We have to save it for a Fifth Tuesday. But actually, we are within our God-given rights, within the rules we have set for ourselves. So, there are parts of this that are a little alarming, and there's definitely strong horror themes. So it works. And if you disagree, slide into the DMs. I'll talk to you. But this is we'll fight. It's an early 90s classic, 1992. And I'll read the little IMDb log line right off the bat. When a fading actress learns of an immortality treatment, she sees it as a way to outdo her longtime rival. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean,
yeah.
In the vaguest of terms.
They said, I'll give you a little bit of the elements that you need. But really what they did was put it all on the poster, I think. Because if you look at the poster, there's a whole fucking little paragraph blurb on there that's in one small bottle, the fountain of youth, the secret of eternal life, the power of an ancient potion. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Which also is actually, now that I'm looking at it, kind of works every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of works every time. But
it definitely worked. What the fuck are you talking about?
There are just additional complications involved sometimes, okay? She gave you a warning about the rules that come with the potion, but it's hard to follow the rules when you're an ingenue, so...
Exactly.
It's so hard. Also, it was one of those things, too, where, you do the thing, and then you find out all the rules, pretty much after you already did the thing, and you're kind of locked in, and now you're
warning.
fuck.
Now a warning! Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this is actually the perfect time to do this movie. I think I probably saw it on cable 1 bajillion years ago, but last year, I think, possibly the year before, but Devin, who's been on our podcast, who was on our Troll 2 episode, our friend Devin, she and I went to a double feature at Cinespia of Death Becomes Her and Jennifer's Body, and they make an incredible fucking duo. And now to work this in right after Lisa Frankenstein, which it's another Diablo Cody movie / a big part of the film is an artificial tan Death is not the end, like they're all in conversation for sure.
No, totally. If you're gonna stay up super, super late, the ultimate 3 movies to watch for a girly horror night is this movie, Lisa Frankenstein and Jennifer's Body, for sure. But maybe start earlier in the day or stay up all night, baby. Do whatever you want.
You have to add Heather's in there. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Heather's too. It's gonna be a big one. Maybe do it in 2 sittings. I was supposed to go with you guys to that slumber party thing. I just remembered, but then I had like
Yeah.
the worst night of work ever, and I was like, my spirit has been taken from my body. I gotta go. And shit happens sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this was such a joy to rewatch. I watched it, I think, for the first time during the pandemic, which is when I did most of my cultural learning, so it seems, honestly, because I didn't watch anything besides Glitter, the Mariah Carey movie as a child, apparently. And Twilight Zone. Those are my 2 big ones. But yeah, this was so fun to watch again. I actually got to watch it twice, which is rare for me for the pod. I prepare, but in other ways. And there's just so many little fucking details in this. I could watch this 50 times and notice more and more things, especially at the end with all the cameos. Like, I'm sure I missed so many of them, and I'm sure a bunch of them went over my head because this was released in 92. I was not alive yet, so
Yeah, Monica
know.
wasn't even born. I was 2.
I was paying full attention as an infant. Actually, I'm not sure what month it came out, but it doesn't matter. I was seated and I was tuned in.
So she was like,
Tuned the
I
fuck
knew
in.
about it.
I was spiritually connected. I was talking about this with my mom last night because I started watching it with her because I was like, she would love this. And then she was too sleepy to make it through. But I was like, I can't believe you've already seen this movie. And then I was like, well, I guess 1992 was kind of a busy year for you. So
But this movie really starts out with a fucking bang, and I totally forgot 100% about the musical number. And wow, doesn't that really put you right where you need to be? And doesn't it really show you, of course, Meryl Streep was cast as the star of Mamma Mia? Like, of course, like she's got it. There it is.
Okay. But also, doesn't it kind of give off the like new JLo flop movie vibes?
have you
Well, I
watched that,
haven't
Sydney?
seen that.
No, of course. I haven't,
Oh
but
my
I know
God.
it's
Well,
like,
maybe we should do that next.
oh
Oh my
no.
God, a horror movie in its own right. I read this like one part of an article that was like, why is JLo always getting married? And also, she gets married 3 times in the new movie. Like 3 of the videos in the movie thing are her getting married, which like I
That's
love to
because
see her get married.
that's because the
She
movie
loves
is
love.
like the movie is supposed to be her life or something like that.
It's like
And
about her
she's been
love with
married
Ben.
multiple times
Yeah, it's
or
like a,
engaged at least.
and I'm like, okay, JLo, she like paid for it all by herself.
Good for her. We love a woman who does what she wants, no matter what the
No matter what
naysayers say.
anyone is looking for from her or wants from her or would like to see that she puts
Even-
out.
Wow.
Even if
Okay.
the
Follows her
studios
heart.
say
That's
we don't
artistic
want this.
integrity, okay?
Okay, but here's the thing. Not soon after we brought this up, a tweet landed on my feed that just said, an episode of MTV's Making the Video, the greatest love story never told, which is the name of JLo's thing, is a glowing shrine to narcissism and its many casualties, a truly admirable documentary about never giving up, no matter how many people tell you that you're draining your bank accounts for no reason.
Wow,
Did
this
you
is like
see
very
that
this is Death Becomes Her. That's the plot of the beginning of
Yeah.
Death Becomes
Yes.
Her, at least Madeline's story.
But somebody wrote that review for like the Daily Beast, and then her promotional stuff pulled just the quote that was like an incredible whatever read the quote again.
Hold on.
They just pulled
Incredible.
the quote that was like, "Yay, a tribute to putting your heart into things."
A truly admirable documentary about never giving up.
Yeah, that's the they just pulled that quote. They were like, forget the narcissism bit. This is how pull quotes work. Sorry that you've never Googled any other pull quote in your life to see what the surrounding context was. That's on you.
Honestly, that's kind of a slay.
And she's right. That's media literacy, baby.
That's true. That sounds like it's kind of nice. admirable does sound a little pat on the backy, like at least you tried. But at least she did try. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love the beginning of this movie so much because one, the sparkle outfit, that was everything to
Mhm.
me. The disco elements within this song were really spectacular and horrible. It was horrible. But she was really putting her whole pussy into it, so I couldn't be mad. If I was in the crowd, I too would be starstruck like Bruce Willis.
Right?
I would who
Lots of
would
people
not be
were
in love?
walking out, but yeah, I mean, it's so funny to see that like dichotomy in the beginning where you open from outside of the theater almost, and you see like all the people walking out and being like, fuck this. Like, who does she
I
think
need a
she is? Like,
drink.
she's washed up. Yeah, they're like a musical version of Sweet Bird of Youth. That's ridiculous. And then you go inside, you see people literally walking out of the front seats up the aisle. And then Bruce Willis is like seated, like heart eyes staring.
With Goldie Hawn, whose name is Helen. Also,
Helen.
it's Madeline, what's her name?
Mad in Hell.
Mad in hell.
Madeline Ashton.
Madeline.
Yeah, Madeline Ashton. What a cunt ass name.
Madeline Ashton, yeah.
That is such a great name.
Sorry, really quickly, back to mommy. Your mommy's name is Helen, and I don't think that her and Goldie Hawn don't not look alike. What did I do? Did I do too many negatives? I think your mom and Goldie Hawn can have some similar features. Your mom's
Slay.
hot, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Slay. That's great for me.
This character was named after your mother.
Good.
I've been trying to get a little context though, because everyone was like apparently mortally offended within the world of the film that she turned Sweet Bird of Youth into a musical. So I'm trying to see why that's offensive. But all I'm getting is the log line from IMDb, which is a drifter and a faded film star, both traumatized by Hollywood, arrived to the guy's hometown where the old bitter memories revive again. So I was thinking it was going to be some like horrible tragedy and she turned it into some like crazy showy act thing, and that's why it was offensive, but I don't know. I
IMDb
don't really get
trivia
it.
says Sweet Bird of Youth is a play by Tennessee Williams about an aging actress who pines for her lost youth. So I think it's just a joke about how she's
It's
washed
just a
up.
joke about how she's washed up. Yep. She's trying to be
Just
like,
being like,
haha,
who does
see,
she
I'm
think she is?
self-aware.
Being a
But
star.
yeah.
And she's singing that song, and it's like, it's me. It's all about me. It's all about it's me. It's me.
So fucking funny. Oh my God. And just the lore between Mad and Hell is so good. The fact that like Madeline has stolen like what was it, 5 of her serious
Boyfriends?
She only
boyfriends?
names 3, including
Oh,
Ernest.
okay.
But yeah.
And then like so she now has like a test to see.
I have to know.
I have to know. I just thought the jump cut was so fucking fun. I mean, there's so many hilarious things. Like when um Bruce Willis is what's his fucking name in the movie? Sorry, I'll try to be good
Ernest.
this time. Ernest Menville. When Ernest is doing his eye surgery, and she just pops up in the window and there's like blood squirting everywhere and he doesn't give a shit. Like so fucking funny. But the best cut is when she's like, you just need to promise me, not Madeline. Helen's like, you just need to promise me that like there's nothing going on with you. Like you can't do this to me. And he's like, I promise I am not interested in Madeline Ashton. And then it's jump cut to their wedding. That was
Oh my God, that was so
so
good.
this movie's so funny. The comedic timing is so good. The lines are so good. And it was a fucking failure at the box office. It's so surprising to me.
Not a total failure. It made
A
more
fizzle.
money than it spent, but yeah, I mean,
3 million more.
numbers wise, it didn't do great. Critics
movie-
didn't love it, audiences didn't love it, which is crazy, but it's very much known as a cult classic. So
Oh,
This movie-
definitely.
Is both ahead of its time and also like so of the 80s time because it's mostly take
Yeah.
place in the 80s, and so it's like the vision ahead, some of the stuff that's in this movie so bad now. But
We
also
love to
crazy
see a
so
fat
because
suit.
funny.
So good to see a fat suit again. How lovely. How wonderful. No.
well, those didn't end in 1992.
That's for
So
sure. But I just forgot about that whole part.
yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just accept that as part of the campiness of the movie, and
Totally.
as long as it's not being presented as a realistic portrayal, we try to give it a little bit of grace, but
Yeah.
it's not ideal. That said, being like, fuck everybody, I'm just gonna stay home and eat cake frosting and have cats and watch a movie where my enemy gets strangled to death over and over and over again. Like that does kind of sound like the life in many ways.
That is
So
Sounds
a
great.
perfect Friday night.
Sounds
yeah,
really
she's
good.
like, literally, I'm just going to do this over and over and over again until they physically drag me out of here.
So funny. And she was just so jazzed to see her choked out. So good. So
She had to
fucking good.
rewind.
Also, thank you for clarifying that that was cake icing because I like missed what it said and I was like, is it sour cream? Like I was so I was
That
like, is
would
it
be
yogurt?
disgusting.
Just
No, it was
yogurt?
in the IMDb trivia, thank God.
Oh, okay.
Bless.
Nice clarification. But I do think that like the mental facility part, though, again, very fucked up, was so fucking funny that like she had talked about Madeline so much that it triggered everyone else. When
Right?
she even said her name, they're like,
They-
dear God, shut her up.
She must
Yeah.
be stopped.
Also, a
So
fun little
funny.
reference. Apparently something in those scenes, maybe the setting, I don't know. The shots in the psychiatric clinic. This is from IMDb trivia. But they look exactly like those in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I tried to reference last episode with Lisa
Oh,
Frankenstein.
yeah.
So
I haven't
another
seen
through line.
Through line clear reference. I have not seen that in so long. Should do that sometime, but it's very fucked up. Yeah, I just love when you just really need to hear whatever you wanted to hear already, and you will hear it no
Mhm.
matter what. And she's just like, you need to eliminate Madeline Ashton from your. No, stop right there. I do need to eliminate Madeline Ashton. That is
You're
a
so
$1 million
right.
idea.
And you are a genius professional, and they should give you a raise
You've
because you nailed it.
You've cured whatever I had going on. I now have a purpose. Thank you. I needed that. And everything's going to be different for me.
Listen, having a purpose will really motivate some people, you know?
Having
you
structure
gotta have a
makes you
goal.
so much more happy. You know, she just needed goals. And I
Mhm.
understand that. I wish that there was like if they were ever gonna do like a Pearl style like prequel or just like a pop out movie, I would love to just see Helen's journey in the aftermath. I would have loved to see her meeting with what is it, Ilsa? Liesel, excuse me.
Liesel.
Liesel von Ruhmen. Um God, Isabella Rossellini.
Oh,
This is
God.
too early, but oh, the hottest woman.
And if
Um,
you're listening to this episode and not watching this episode on YouTube, although you could be watching this episode on YouTube if you wanted to be, but if you were watching it on YouTube, you would see that Monica is doing a gorgeous Liesel cosplay. And if you're only listening to it, you should pause the episode, go to YouTube immediately, watch this episode in its entirety, and then go back to wherever you were listening to the podcast and finish it there too.
You have to go to YouTube and watch,
You have to do
otherwise you
both.
won't know if I did a chaste version or if I'm out here free boobing it with only necklaces for a shirt. Now you won't know until you go to YouTube. Entice sex cells.
That's the greatest part about being a podcast. Nobody's wearing pants.
Yeah, I mean, everybody used a body double for their nude scenes in this movie, but everybody looked banging on screen. So I don't care how we got there. I just care about the end result.
Dude, do you know who Isabella Rossellini's fucking body double was for her nude scene? It was fucking Catherine Bell from Jag, the girl from Jag. I watched Jag with my dad religiously, and now I know I've seen her butt. It's crazy.
I love that for you.
She really went on to great things, but she had great origins too. Playing
Mhm.
Isabella Rossellini's ass, that's not a bad way to start.
It's an honor, is what it is.
It's a
to even be asked,
privilege.
to even be considered.
An honor. Really quickly, I want to zoom in on the what is it? Like clinic facial place that
The med
Madeline
spa.
goes to. The med spa, thank you. You know these words. I love all the little details of that spot. Like, did you see when she's walking down the hall? What do you think that machine was that man was on, where he was slowly rotating, or I don't know, whatever that person was,
It was
and
like
groaning.
taking his blood out, putting new blood in.
It's like it's basically like a human chicken rotisserie thing.
Ooh, I love that. Cool. I'm sure that helps a lot.
But
I
they
mean-
talk about like some sort of plasma treatment. So I think that was probably maybe what we were getting a glimpse of too. And then Anna or whatever it is, she's like, you can only do that every 6 months. So we're something with the blood.
I think one of the biggest issues with this movie, but makes it more camp, so it's
Mhm.
fine, is that like you're supposed to believe that Meryl Streep is washed up and looks bad or whatever or something, because it doesn't really read on the camera. Like for Bruce Willis, his age makeup definitely reads because he's got like the weird wrinkles on his forehead. But Meryl, at least on her face, like it doesn't. So like later on when there's that scene when she sees Liesel and there's that iconic scene that they do twice in the movie with the finger and the cutting the finger and the blood, and then they have the old hand and the old hand becomes
And it's got like age
a
spots on
beautiful-
it.
Yeah, the age spots. I'm like, she's that old to have old ass hands, but she looks like she's like 35 on top tops. Like I that part didn't really come across. But I mean, I do think it's like a really interesting topic. Obviously, it's a very hilarious take on it, but like I thought it was a fun like hyperbole of like the extreme things that people will go to, and even more so nowadays because there's more surgeries available to try to like chase that everlasting youth
Get the
that
fat
you
sucked
cannot
out of your
have.
face. Get fillers
Yeah.
put back into your face.
Yeah, it's
Blah
so
blah 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 blah. Yeah,
interesting.
Botox,
The
facelifts.
blood facial.
Yeah, and
Everybody
it's
knows
so-
you just get one facelift in like your mid to late 50s, and then you just
And then
age.
you look wonk for like 4 years, but then you look great after that.
No, if you get a really good one, you won't look wonk at all.
It's true. But if you get a whole bunch of them, then you'll look really like Madonna.
Yeah.
What? I didn't say it loud enough, so you can't know.
That's why
what
you
I
have to just
said.
get one done by a really good doctor and then age gracefully.
One and done.
One and
I'm
done,
out
baby.
here trying to find my dagger really quickly, so keep talking. I'm just gonna search for it.
Ooh,
gonna
are
need
we
it
gonna
as
have
a
a
prop
little
later.
blood play?
Little blood. But
I'm
yeah, I mean, I
not
think it's
into that.
interesting. It's interesting that you bring up Helen's off-screen transformation, because actually I think that was one of the things in this movie that like shifted around a lot in terms of like what was going on there, because this movie went through a lot of rewrites and like the end changed a bunch of times, and like if you watch the trailer for it, there's a ton of scenes in the trailer that did not make the final cut.
Oh,
And, like,
really?
Tracy Ullman was supposed to be in this movie playing a character named Tony, and she got cut out entirely. Gorgeous dagger. But
Thank
so
you.
like when Helen took the potion is something that like happened at like various different chronological points in the movie's timeline in different
Oh.
versions. So it's not necessarily like that had like a clear vision for what was going on there. Like in some of them, she didn't take it until the end after Madeline took it. And I think it makes most sense as we see it on screen.
I
But there were
agree.
like different versions that they were playing around with for sure. There's like lots of different adjustments happening while they were filming this movie and in post-production and stuff like that.
I think it's pretty like hilarious actually that you don't know in advance that Helen has taken it. So that reveal once she's already been killed is all the more exciting, you know?
Right? You're like, wow,
Um,
Helen has a literal revenge body.
Dude. she's so hot in this. When I was going through, I was like, what am I gonna dress up as today? Because I knew I had to do it. I was like, well, I don't have a blonde wig, and Sydney might do that, and so I'm not gonna do that. And I can't be Meryl Streep. And I was like, well, I have bangs. I can try to do the whole thing, and I can try to be Goldie Hawn. And I was like, Monica, you will look so fucking dumb in comparison to Goldie Hawn as like the epitome of the hottest woman who's ever walked the earth. Ooh. Also, I just want to shout out to a person that I don't know. I saw someone slay a Goldie Hawn Helen costume at Halloween this past year. Used a
What?
mirror on her tummy to create the
Oh.
illusion of the
Oh.
hole.
Mhm.
So well done. Very well done. Tastefully done, some would say. She might have won the costume contest, and if so, that's the correct
Deserved.
choice. Seriously, very deserved. But like the whole thing with the rumination on like youth and chasing your youth and all that thing, like Meryl Streep, obviously, Madeline Ashton, she's such a fucking bitch in this. Like, I love all the details that we get to learn just how horrible Ernest and Madeline's marriage has become. Like her whole wake up scene with her her helper. who's
That
like,
scene
"You
is
have to
so
tell
funny.
so funny. She's like, you look magnificent today." She's already saying that to wake her up in the morning. That's so funny. Which, like, also would love to hear that first thing in the morning, too, but also wouldn't want it to be required by law.
But like that whole dialogue between them is so good too, because she's like, aren't you forgetting to say something? And then her maid is like, it's not Thursday yet. Like we do it once a week. We do it on Thursdays. And she's like, I think I need it every morning now. And it's like, oh my God, Madeline, do you look even younger than yesterday? That's crazy. And then she's like,
How
okay,
do
thank
you
you.
do it? So funny.
Yeah, I mean, to be greeted with such compliments every day, it is a dream. Ideally they come organically, but if I have to ask for them or have them on demand, like that's fine too, as long as I'm getting them.
Lord knows I'm not above it.
Hmm.
But the juxtaposition between that wake up call and Ernest's wake up call where he's like on the floor, and what is the name of that woman? Rose. Rose, the helper, is like right there. The maid, sorry, I couldn't think of the word maid, is like on his body. Like they obviously have some like flirtation vibe going on. And like that's another nice way to wake up with a bloody
Oh yeah.
right away on a weekend. I'm
Care
not
of the
above
dog,
it.
baby.
That sounds very nice. And he's like, "Oh, you look so beautiful." And she's like, "Thank you." And he's like, "Not you." He's talking to the Bloody Mary. Oh, all these little lines are so fucking good.
But he needs more vodka. He needs
That
more in
needs
there.
more vodka.
But yeah, I mean, the whole like, there's no way he already woke up and made his side of the bed. And so you know that they're sleeping separately. And he's not just sleeping in another room, he's passing out on the floor every single night because he's drinking so much and he's lost his passion for plastic surgery. He's working as
Or he
a
got disbarred or not
cosmetic
disbarred.
mortician. Yeah, I
He's a
mean,
mortician, yeah.
but he is
Nice.
a miracle worker in that, and like also thank God that this is what his job has become because we're gonna need those skills, baby. But yeah, I mean, I it is such a good like introduction to where the characters are at. And then I also just love the moment when we're like at Helen's book event and someone comes up to him to be like, you worked amazing wonders, miracles with my Aunt Ethel or whatever. And he's like, oh, well, the secret is you got to use mannequin paint because dead bodies, corpses, dead skin, decaying skin, regular makeup doesn't work. And she's like, ugh! Like it's so great. It's such a perfect script.
It's
It's
so funny.
so
And that
good.
that short scene where he goes and actually does his job on that like
And the
actor
guy's
who
like,
had well, he's like getting a BJ like when he died.
he died
That's
having
what it
sex
is.
with his 18-year-old fiance.
They're like, he's looking too happy. It's immoral. Like it's so funny. Oh God. It's no surprise that the gays took this movie and they ran.
Hmm.
Thank God. I was surprised. So I read this like Vanity Fair article about like how it's been adopted by the queer community. And I just didn't realize how many drag queens, have used this as inspiration, because I still don't watch Drag Race, and I'm sorry, okay? And I'm working on it. I'm getting through Bachelor first. I just got into reality TV, so I should do the gay stuff first, but
She's gonna
Bachelor's
do
got me right
Bachelor
now.
and then Couple to Thruple and then Drag Race after that.
Yes, couple to
Well, what
throuple.
about Queer Ultimatum? You told me about that. I really want to see that.
Oh, yeah, but then it ended so messily that I feel like it can wait. Couple to Thruple first.
Couple of Throuble first. Okay, cool. See, I'm working on it. I'm doing my
Mhm.
best, and I'm gonna get to Drag Race, but it's a lot of pressure because everyone gets so mad at me when I tell them I don't watch it. So anyway, but yeah, so many drag queens inspired by this, and like, wow, aren't there a plethora of options and dress up options here? And I don't know, I saw some clip from like a whole what's it called, segment, excuse me, on don't say it, Sydney, segment on on Drag Race, where it was all inspired by Death Becomes Her, and like somebody came out with like their waist so small that they couldn't feel their lower extremities and had an oxygen mask. And that was like inspired by this. That's the only clip that was in this article, and I was like, wow, they put their lives on the line. It's incredible. It's beautiful work. um but yeah, I just, oh man, it's so good. It's so good. And I just really love everything they did with like Liesel von Ruhmen. I feel like we're pretty much there now after Madeline has her breakdown after her hot young thing. Is actually very
Her
mean to
hot
her.
piece of ass.
He's like, she looked so sad. She's a bitch, but like he was actually like, it's embarrassing for me to be, people are saying that it's embarrassing for me to be seen with you. Don't you ever think how I feel? Like, oh, well, that's like such a mean thing. That's something you keep to yourself.
Yeah.
You're like,
I mean,
those are
it's not
inside words,
great,
not outside words.
Yes.
but also like he can't, it's not fair of her to expect him to be on call 24/7 and not
No,
have an
def not.
outside personal life just to be there to stroke her ego among other things. But
Nice one.
thank you. Um, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't hold back. And after the blow of seeing Helen look all sexy again and hot and have everyone be like, she's 50, can you believe it? Like, what was she supposed to do, you know? She's in crisis.
My God. The Helen reveal was so good. And I loved her manipulation. Like, she's like,
She's
I
so
never
funny.
blamed you for taking my man. I never thought of it that way.
It
was
wasn't
him.
you. It had
It
nothing
was
to do with you. It's you were literally irrelevant. It was just him. And then she goes over to him and was like, it was all Madeline.
Helen.
It was always her. Yeah. I mean,
she's a
she's got a
cruel
plan.
bitch who steals my men. She's so smart.
It's like she said, she's been thinking over there. She heard eliminate Madeline Ashton, and she said, I've been scheming for 8 years now. So
And her plans are really good.
Oh,
Plans that she
she's,
has
yeah.
are foolproof. Well, I don't know about that chemical thing, but it seemed like that if it's real, that would work. People drive off the side of Mulholland all the time, okay?
All the
I
time.
know
They
someone who's
do.
done it. He survived.
yeah.
But
You know, at least
depends
two
where you
people who've
drive
done it
off,
who
I guess.
survived.
Huh?
There was somebody who went to our high school who did it also, but they also survived, to be clear.
I didn't know that. I know someone from college who also did it. See, look, two different people who drove off Mulholland and survived. But if you do it in a very spicy area, then it's believable.
If you do it with 800 million vodka bottles in, and then it crashes, and so it actually lights your car on fire, nobody will
yes.
ever know.
Charred little skeleton. Yeah, and you got to be careful because in some
crucial.
places also you're going to be attacked by a wolf and you're going to become a werewolf. So
Mulholland is just scary.
Oh,
Don't go
yeah.
there.
There's so much going on in Mulholland Drive. Be careful. Honestly, it is a very scary road to drive. So you heard it here first. But okay, sorry. Back to Liesel von Ruhmen. Just all of the things that they did with the set dressing and her costuming and her lackeys, her sexy boys, her sexy pool
Tom,
boys.
Dick, and
What
Harry.
were their little Tom, Dick, and Harry? That's so funny.
Their
Their
outfit.
little outfits, though, they're wearing like male corsets. Good. They
It
should
looked
be.
like they were acrobats.
Yes. Ooh. I love too when like that guy's on like splayed out on the couch. I don't know if it's Tom, Dick, or Harry. It could have been any of them. And Meryl like sits right up next to him. Of course, there were no other options. And she's like, "Get out of here, but stay close by. I might need that ass." The power. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's so sexy. She's so sexy. And just like the way that they did this costuming, she's just like naked in a sarong. Like, and she's not wearing anything under the sarong. You don't realize that until like they do that cool shot with the knife.
With
It's
her
a real knife,
dagger.
but it's literally so dull with her dagger. It can't
Phew.
hurt me, so don't
For
worry.
safety
I'm not
purposes.
in any
Bless.
danger. And it has a dragon on it. Anyway,
Oh my
another
God,
reason to watch
slay.
YouTube. Just saying, you can see my knife.
You can see the prop work on this podcast. We love a
Big
little
prop
prop
work.
comedy.
Ooh, oh, I missed my finger. It's just like the movie scene, crazy. But all of it's so sensual. Like, talk about the queer energy. Like, she definitely fucks whoever she wants.
Whenever she
regardless of
wants.
gender.
100%. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about immortality. We've talked about this with vampires. You know what I mean? It really just frees you up, lets you think beyond the realms of time and society. You have to leave society in 10 years anyway. So why follow its stupid rules or whatever? Be yourself, like Liesel. Also,
At some
Liesel.
point, you've got to start questioning things and just trying new experiences, right? I mean, come on.
Don't knock it till you try it. That's what they always say. But yeah, her whole speech, I would do it too. But the whole thing where you can only be like alive in the public eye for 10 years, that does seem a little difficult. Just
I think it's tricky because so many of them are celebrities. You know what I mean? Like if they were doing it Twilight style, Cullen family style, where you can just move somewhere and start over,
had
that would be
anonymity.
different. But if you're Greta Garbo and you want to stay being Greta Garbo, there's
That's
only
not
so
gonna
long you
work.
can get away with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a brilliant premise that they like could bring in all these like people in the 27 Club or like classic celebrities. Like if it had been a little bit later, Tupac would have been in this group for sure too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like the Elvis coming back later on.
Mhm.
They're like, just a reminder, don't pop back up to make people write about you again. He's like, I
And
just
he's
was
like,
trying to have fun.
exactly. Yeah, it's so funny. But we do get lots of good cameos in that party scene later. Like we have Elvis. Greta Garbo is mentioned. I don't know if we see her or not, but Jim
don't know if I could
Morrison,
recognize
James
her.
Dean, like Andy Warhol. They're throwing a bunch of people in there just to have some fun.
That was so perfect. Also, that guy who played James Dean looks so much like James Franco because they do look alike. And I'm like, was it James Franco? It's too young to be James Franco. Anyway, those are all the thoughts that I had in that moment, in case you wanted to know. But I also love like when the actual murder happens. I love that they have these little bits with it's like this movie has bits with itself. It's like we're gonna do
Mhm.
that bit with the like falling down the stairs, like
At,
gravity
like a
doesn't
weird
work.
angle.
Mhm.
Yeah, with the heels.
Yeah.
You're like, help me. That bit, so funny. I love that the like finger blood thing comes back again. Like, yes, it is also annoying to watch the exactly same scene twice.
Sometimes
But
they gotta really
also-
make their point.
I liked it. They're like, we're doing it again because this is the thing. This is what Liesel does. She does the same thing every time. She
She's
makes
a
your age spots on your hands go
woman.
away.
She's
Well,
got her procedure down to a science, okay? She says, I know what's gonna convince these bitches.
she has a pitch and she sticks to it. And I appreciate that about her. And also, I've learned from Paris Hilton that hands actually do age very quickly.
Yes,
That's
they
why
do.
Paris Hilton wears gloves all the time. So
Yep.
maybe that's why the makeup didn't match the face. And maybe I just figured out my own question from earlier. Damn.
But yeah, they do have lots of bits. Like they have the hand thing, they have the mad hell. Like I love how they always greet each other in that way. And also it's funny the way they use the little nicknames, and it's like they're mad as hell at each other.
Yeah.
I love the way that they both practice before they see each other, like behind the scenes at the play before Madeline lets Helen and Ernest in. She's practicing where she's like
Oh.
and then Helen is practicing before she gets to the house when she's going to like seduce Ernest, and she's like, "Is Madeline here? Madeline, is she here? Madeline, I need to talk to Madeline." Like they're just I mean they're so clearly meant to be besties and meant for each other and meant to be together forever, and I am so glad they get to do that. But you know, it's a journey to get there first. They've got some issues to overcome, some obstacles to overcome.
Yeah, like being alive. It's really holding
Yeah,
them back.
being live. And
Mhm.
like, you know, they have to literally kill each other. Well, the Helen doesn't actually get to kill Madeline, which is like so unfair. But they have to try to kill each other or successfully kill each other or plan to kill each other, and then they can talk it out, and then they can put the beef behind them. You know what I mean? But like, it's a process.
It's a whole process.
You've got to fight it out sometimes, you know?
Sometimes you've gotta fucking fight it out.
Sometimes
Sometimes you have to have a fight where you hit your best friend in the face with a shovel.
sometimes you have to blow
of
a
times.
giant hole in your bestie's tummy.
She was
Sometimes.
planning to kill me first, bitch.
Right?
It has to be done. It has to be done. The CGI and like special effects work in this though was something to behold, and it did win a fucking Oscar.
Yeah, it was
Like
groundbreaking at the time.
literally
Very
was.
groundbreaking at the time.
It's
Looks so
so many
silly
articles.
now,
It is
but
still it still holds up. It is
it's perfect.
so
Yeah, it's
good.
perfect as it is. Wouldn't change a thing, but it does look
Yeah.
a little silly now.
No.
Just because Meryl Streep's head is too small. That's the only reason. Everything else looks really good. Her head just happens to be small. But you don't know, Chelsea. Maybe your head gets small when you break it and it goes around 180 degrees. Okay.
Well, they tried lots of different ways to do things. Like, okay, when she first takes the potion and you see her boobies literally firm up and lift.
What a great scene.
So
Yeah,
funny.
they built a pneumatic bra for that, and I looked up what the word pneumatic means, and it means like a machine powered by like gas air pumps and stuff like that. So like I assume they had like little pumps to lift them into place, but it didn't look good enough, so they just had like her dresser stand behind her and like lift her boobs into place. They made like a robotic animatronic head of Meryl Streep's head that they may or may not have actually used in one scene, but they tried to do that and it didn't work out, and they ended up CGIing it in others. But they were trying to do some practical effects. It's just that the groundbreaking CGI new technology actually is what ended up blowing everything out of the water. So
They were breaking the ground for the very first time. It's a lot of work. You got to put your back into it.
making
Apparently,
technological advancements that they ended up using for Jurassic Park. So the horror genre should fucking thank this movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. We should do Jurassic Park. Fuck. That totally is a horror movie. I agree. Anyway, sorry. Back to this.
It's a
movie.
creature film.
It's a creature feature.
baby.
That's also in our little opening thing. We can do whatever
Mhm.
we want.
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But oh, what was I gonna say? I got distracted. Oh, there's a great little video of Meryl Streep like acting out the blue screen stuff because it's a blue screen, not a green screen. She looks adorable, but also apparently she fucking hated it. Very similar to Dakota Johnson in Madame Web. Meryl Streep was like, "This is the last time that I will be doing CGI. This is the first time and the last time." I don't know if that held true. Probably not. But just like
it
Dakota
didn't
Johnson.
because there was an IMDb trivia entry that said something about it that was like, she said she'd never do it again, and yet ... Oh yeah, Meryl Streep wasn't thrilled that the film relied heavily on visual effects. Streep claims that shooting the film was like, quote, going to the dentist, and states that the film is her first, last, and only VFX-driven film. Yet it wasn't, is what someone who is editorializing wrote on IMDb trivia.
They're
So
like,
I
we
love
do
the
not tell
drama that
lies.
people bring to
Yet
it
it
from time to
wasn't.
time. But it wasn't. They were. She ate
He's
her
a
words.
liar.
Really quick, sorry, aside about Madame Web.
Yeah,
I
back
was
to Madame
saying
Web.
just really quickly, it's important. I was hanging out with my friends on Friday and I was like, oh yeah, I saw Madame Web and I had taken a supplement and blah 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 blah. It blew my mind. And I was like, and anyway, it's called Madame Web, not Madame Web. And then everyone was like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought to say it like that either. I would have just said Madam Web. And I was like, oh, that's the third option. I couldn't even think
You
of
madamed
the
yourself
normal
so hard that
option.
you once again forgot about the word madam. Which is how
I
we got to
literally-
Madame Web in the first place, to be clear, is that Monica forgot about that word entirely.
I forgot again until I remembered this anecdote right now. I was like,
Madame. It's not really Madame, it's Madame. Like,
Damn.
and the other option is Madam.
Madame.
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally
Yep.
couldn't think of it. It's like when you say a
It
word
won't
too
stay in
much
her
and
brain.
it sounds wrong.
And that's
Anyway.
okay. You don't need it in there because the movie is called Madame Web.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. Anyway, we can talk about this movie now, but I just needed to get that off my chest.
It always comes back to Madame Web.
Oh, okay. Here's something. Ernest Menville is a stupid fucking idiot.
Yep.
Wh-
But what
when
makes
he
you say so right now?
when he immediately called Helen, I was like, oh, if I've learned anything from Sydney, you need to make sure your phone list is
No
clear
phones.
and clean. No phones at all if you can.
Which
Oh,
Helen points
God.
out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And like her solution is not terrible because like he says it's hard to pinpoint time of death down to the few hours, but down to minutes really is going to be tricky.
Oh, totally.
But
It'd be
also
fine.
like hello, they're gonna figure it out. You're on the phone with your ex-girlfriend who your wife stole you from, and she fell down the stairs while facing away from the stairs. Yeah, I think they're gonna put it together.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they'd be able to tell that she felt well.
The directionality. I've watched
'Cause she-
CSI enough times to know.
Dude, she went like all over the place. She was like bing
That's
bong
true.
boom bong bing 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 bing, like literally like she flipped around a lot of times. It was beautiful work there. But that whole phone call where she's slowly putting herself back together in the background, like it's just the physical comedy is fucking hilarious. Did she
Yeah.
also go to mime school? Like, wow. Another through line to Cole Sprouse.
Another through line to Cole Sprouse is Ernest's mustache.
Yes, thank you. I was looking at pictures of Cole Sprouse for a long time today because I was editing videos for Lisa Frankenstein, and I forgot he had a mustache, and I was like, that's also why I like Cole Sprouse, but let's not talk about him.
Back to this episode. You had enough of a
Don't
Cole
bring him
Sprouse
up
rant
again.
last episode.
I literally talked about, I counted, it was 3 minutes. It was over 3 minutes of me talking about my tortured relationship with Cole Sprouse. Anyway, Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep, so beautiful, so wonderful, so talented. Again, physical comedy unmatched in this movie. Like even just the walking backwards with like the blue hood on over her head, she slayed it. Very malignant, you know.
Yes.
But it's so funny, that scene. Everything about it is so perfect because again, like we said, Helen has incredible plans. She came up with this genius idea, and I loved the montage that we watched as she describes her plan. And I love that like the coroners and stuff are like mouthing along to the words as she says them. That's so camp. But then he just fucks it up in 1 minute because Helen's gotten him so riled up that the second that he's like she calls him flaccid, he's like ah! Like he just
Oh, that shit was brutal.
and he calls her cheap, and as we know, that's her trigger as well. So
brutal
just it's a perfect movie is what it is.
It's
And
so
then the
perfect.
phone call.
I
He's
love
like,
that
I did it. He's so excited. He's so excited to tell her.
I
Stupid.
know, he's so
Stupid little
happy.
idiot.
But Meryl won't die. And I love that that doctor was so scared by the fact that she was dead
Dead.
and still moving that he died himself. That was a really nice little detail. Another little detail from the hospital, those creepy fucking nuns when he's going down to the morgue. What the fuck was that about? Say more.
There's a deleted scene with the priest who's in the hospital or something like that that didn't make it into the final cut, and that was like related to. Let me find it in.
I was like, I accept
the
spooky
trivia,
floating
but
nuns. You don't have to tell
yeah.
me anything. You
Everybody
can just
loves
have 'em
creepy
in.
nuns.
It's important that they made the final cut, whether or not the priest was there. It really isn't about him, you know.
No, it's not about him. It's about our girls.
But yeah, apparently the priest was going to be like in the morgue. And then when Ernest is in the morgue getting Madeline, the door was going to have been like not closed properly, and he was going to like slide out when Ernest is like, it's a miracle, which like could have also been a funny gag. But there's already so much going on in that scene that we didn't need it. We can just have the nuns divorced from that.
The nuns are just there. Why not?
The nuns are just there. The nuns are there to suggest that something unholy is happening, and it is.
I don't need to know why. I don't.
But yeah, I mean, I love that whole thing is so perfect. And when he's like, "Where's Madeline?" and it's like they took her to the morgue, and it's like the morgue. She's gonna be furious. Like it's so perfect. I love everything that's going on. And I love Helen when she's like spying on them when they get home, and she's like, "What the fuck is he doing to her body?" Like,
yes. Are you doing something funny with Madeline?
and she's got like her little dark black, like her sneaky outfit. She's got an outfit for everything. This bitch is cunt as hell.
Okay, but here's the thing. When Ernest is like spray painting Meryl Streep's body, her body double's ass is so good. And I love the gray skin. Like, why didn't somebody I know she says you must take care of your body, but like my skin turns gray. That's like not.
I don't think their skin turns gray. I think it's because she died.
Yeah, no, it's because they're decomposing. They're still decomposing even though they're still alive. That's the fuck shit. Like your spirit won't. You're like a zombie. You have to be alive forever.
Yeah, they don't. It's complicated because they don't really get into it exactly. My take on things is that if you're like Liesel and you're taking care of your body, you don't really need Ernest to do touch-ups. It's only if something happens that you need him to do touch-ups. And like Madeline and Helen both died, so they are like losing all of the blood and color and circulation. They can't die, but they are decomposing, which is why he needs to formaldehyde them, like etc. Liesel wants him. Yeah, Liesel wants him in her services just in case, because she plans ahead. She's a planner, you know what I mean? But like,
she's an entrepreneur.
Elvis and everything else there. I don't think Elvis and everybody else at the party is like getting spray tans and stuff like that. I think it's only if something goes wrong.
Yeah, otherwise no one would do this if you start decomposing. It's because they died on night 1 for Madeline of her immortality.
Helen got like 8 years. Yeah, Madeline gets like 8 hours, maybe.
Brutal. That is brutal. Also, another point for this being a horror movie, they don't show this at all, but the idea of what Madeline felt while in the body bag in the morgue is horrifying to me. So
she's scared.
That makes me very scared right now. I'm feeling stressed out. Ooh, that's a nightmare to be. Like buried alive, any of that shit? No.
Horrifying. No,
Worst
thank
way
you.
to go. Yeah, the showdown between them is just so good. The fact that like Madeline's like, fuck you, bitch. Obviously, like Helen shows her whole cards because she thinks Madeline's dead, and she says exactly what they were doing, which is planning her fucking death. But Madeline just being like, I'm gonna fucking blow you away, bitch. Like the most violent option. It's a sleigh. I'm sorry.
She's like, I'm gonna, like, there's no chance that you're break a neck. Nope. We're gonna blast a hole. There's no way she's coming back from this.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah. I mean, except,
That reveal.
yeah. And the like
Except
slow reveal as she's like lying dead in the fountain and her blood is like seeping out into the water. But then you see her like slowly getting back up, kind of the exact same way that we saw Madeline slowly getting up in the background of the phone call. It is it's incredible.
I
Is what
loved
it is.
when Ernest was
Spectacular.
like, our neighbors, they're gonna hear the gunshot, blah 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 blah. And she's like, in like what, 10 years, 12 years, like however long they've been married, how many of our neighbors have ever said a word to us? And it's like, honestly,
No.
true.
She said, like, how when have you ever seen a neighbor? Like, even more extreme. So funny. True for Beverly Hills, but not true. I have very nice neighbors in my neighborhood.
It's because you're poor, Monica.
Wow.
Only poor people have neighbors.
Somebody, okay, well, I'll take
I have
that
neighbors.
because somebody
I
gave
hear
me-
celebrities talking about their neighbors who are other celebrities all the time. Okay.
I
They're
don't
like,
know,
oh
but-
yes. Who is it? Like Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden live like right next door to I
well,
don't
they
know,
could plan
someone.
that shit out because they probably killed the person who lived in the house next door.
So their
and
friend
they
could
could
move
get away
next
with murder
door.
because they are as rich as God, and that's why they can live right next to each other. You ever think about that, Chelsea?
No, you just think about yourself.
Just think about yourself.
I'm so stupid, you guys. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Good.
I feel
thank you.
bad for Madeline that she doesn't have neighbors though, because my neighbors, I've started acting just like that girl who was at chapel with us. Chelsea, what's her name? Isabel. This is TikTok girl. She's really funny. I'll put it in the references so you can know who I'm acting like all the time now. But I have this is just an aside, but I think the spooky listeners will like it. I have a skeleton in front of my house and it was waving and it's up all year round and it sits on a bench in my front yard. And one of my neighbors deposited a surprise second skeleton. And now I have two skeletons. So I just want to let everyone know.
It was a joyous
It's
day in the
important.
group chat.
It's important and it's really exciting. And it was the best thing that's ever happened to me this year. So pretty huge. Anyway, back to the movie. Yeah, I love that they fight and they smash their heads into each other's necks. I can't get over when Meryl Streep's head like goes one all the way back and she has the weird voice, and then also when it goes all the way down
Like a little turtle.
and it's like her skin's all ruffly. Disgusting. Great
And Helen keeps
detail work.
yelling at her and being like, put your head back regular so we can keep fighting. Like, hello, I have things to shout at you and you look very silly and it's distracting me.
I love that Meryl Streep actually hit Goldie Hawn with a shovel and she has like a scar on her face from it.
I know.
I bet Goldie Hawn loves it. I bet she was a little mad in the moment. But I bet now, all these years later, she's like, and this is where Meryl Streep hit me with a shovel.
And I'll never forget it. I wish
And I'll
one of
never
my
forget it.
scars was from Meryl Streep or Goldie
It would,
Hawn.
yeah. Yeah, it'd be a place of honor for sure.
I'm dying over Ladybug right now. So cute. But I love that they just team up almost immediately after like Helen literally spends years of her life plotting Madeline's murder. And then she's like, you know what? I love you and we can move past it. We were both cunts to each other. Because I called you cheap one time 25 years ago.
It's
That's
not that
just
she
as
called her
bad.
cheap. It's that she secretly thought it and would never admit it.
Yeah.
So
That's as bad of a sin as stealing her husband, for sure.
well, look, it was reciprocal in the sense that I was doing it to hurt you because you hurt me. And as long as we both admit what we've done and what we privately thought, then now we've cleared the air, you know?
Now we
So-
only have each other.
Yeah, and it's like I planned to murder you for 8 years, and then you got murdered, and then you murdered me. So now it's kind of like fair enough. We're even.
Steven, yeah.
I wasn't the one who actually got to push you down the stairs, but like close enough. You know what I mean?
But I conspired.
And by the way, the little finger is so funny in that scene in the stairs.
Oh my god, all the stuff with the hole in Helen when they're having their talk with the how she like throws the shovel.
she's like,
Madeline throws the shovel like a
"Yes,
right.
spear.
oh
A javelin.
And it misses her, and then when she sits later, it just goes perfectly through her. Like so many
Mhm.
good visual gags, so good. But I
Yeah.
love that they team up and they're like, actually, you know what we need to do? We need to trap this man. We need to trap this man because we need to be hot forever, and the only way we can do it is if he paints us with fancy paint. And by the way, they look really good once he's paint them. He is like a magician with that shit.
He is
They
an
look really
artist.
hot. It got me thinking about should I get a spray tan, but again, we can't do that. No one
I
would
was
recognize me.
I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, oh my god, spray tan? Spray tan?
You've had a spray tan before, so it's believable. I've never been tan in my life, and people would be scared. They'd be like, "Who is that?" No, they wouldn't. But I wouldn't like. I would look in the mirror and be like, "Who the fuck is that? Someone with health?" No. um, but I just love it when two evil girl bosses get together and bash Bruce Willis in the head with some vases. I just love that
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah,
That's
I
just a me
mean,
thing.
they tried to do it another way first. They tried to go with that whole drugging plan that Helen already came up with once before. And they showed up and they were like, Ernest, we brought you some breakfast. But unfortunately, they arrived at just the moment he was deciding to make major life changes.
He
It
was
is
trying
funny
to
the way he's
better
like
himself. What the fuck?
gesticulating and they're like watching eagle-eyed, trying to see like where all the liquid is going. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta smash a vase over a guy's head and drag him to Liesel yourself and then hope that she can take it from there. But that bitch did not land the pitch.
No.
Well, that's another bit within this movie, especially with Ernest's character. He's about to do whatever you want him to do, but then you say one too many things, and then he realizes he has agency as a human being. So if these
Boo.
bitches had just shut up a little bit sooner, he would have done all
Mhm.
their bidding.
Yeah.
But alas.
Like in his escape scene when he's like literally hanging by his suspenders and he's about to drink the potion to save himself. And then Meryl is like, you have to. And he's like, I don't have to do shit.
Anything.
Yeah.
Actually,
Actually, I would maybe rather die.
Watch me.
well, he's like,
And
I'd
he
have
was
to be
supposed to
tied to these
die.
bitches forever, for
Mhm.
eternity. Not even forever. Like, I will never die till the end of time. And even then, what happens? What happens if that time ends? If they can still be alive
Yeah.
when they're dead bodies, what happens when the whole world implodes and they're just specks that are
That's
still
true.
sentient? You ever thought about this? I hate that I'm thinking about it now.
He made some good points when he was like, what if I get bored? Have you even considered it?
Have you ever actually?
Because I've been living my dream life in many ways until now, which is married to a hot celebrity, very rich in Beverly Hills, do whatever I want. And guess what? I'm so miserable that I drink until I pass out on the floor every night.
All the time.
He's like,
Yeah.
look, Greta Garbo may be out there, Marilyn Monroe might be out there, but I don't need just another Madeline Ashton in my life. So I would rather not.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, in one version of the script, he was supposed to die at that part when he falls off of the castle. But I like that he falls through the stained glass ceiling. That's fun.
Of the touch, the finger touch.
Yeah,
Yes.
the touch of life.
The touch of
And he
life.
shatters it. And in many ways, a metaphor for him denying the kiss of life from the potion.
Whoever the lady in the black underwear is, so hot.
With Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one of his bitches.
I was like, whoa, that's Mick Jagger. And then I was like, Mick Jagger's still alive, Monica. So that doesn't that doesn't work with the whole bit that they're
It
trying
could be
to do.
Big Jagger. Maybe he took the potion,
But then
IMDb
he
trivia
stopped.
said, yeah. No, he's still kicking out there and we see he's aging. So,
Yeah,
tragically
we do
he
see
hasn't
that.
taken the potion yet.
Anything can happen.
But there's still time.
Still time. Yeah. But I think that the end of this movie is just absolutely fucking perfect. Like, it's
Yeah.
It's so funny just to see like the second before that last scene too, when they finally realize that they're gonna be together, the two of them taking care of each other in scare quotes for fucking ever. And the fact that the flash forward is only 37 years later, that is not that long.
Right.
That is not that long. And they already look so fucking bad. At Ernest's funeral. Ernest's funeral's so funny too. Where like
Oh
he
my
somehow
God.
like changed his identity so no
Life
one knows
starts
about
at
his life
50. Yeah.
before. Yeah.
They're like, we don't know anything about his earlier life, but
But he
Yeah.
has 6 kids and a bunch of adopted kids, and he's got grandchildren, and he started an AA chapter and a marriage family therapy clinic
and he loves
and a women's health center.
being
and-
outdoors.
He's like accomplished outdoorsman. That picture of him old, like on a mountain that's up there.
That was
So
from
good.
another alternate ending, actually.
Oh,
In one
really?
of the alternate endings, it was 27 years later. I don't know why that matters. But it was
I'd like to
27
know.
years later, and it was gonna be like Madeline and Helen were like in Switzerland, and they like saw him skiing with Tracy Ullman's character, who again didn't make the final cut, but was supposed to be like his
Mm.
end game. And they were like running into him, and then they went a different direction with that, I think in part because
True.
Tracy Ullman's character got fully cut, and they went this way instead, but they were like, we preserved it in this photo to show what a rich beautiful life he's had with his wife Claire.
Played by Tracy Ullman.
No, her character's named Tony.
But I just love their bickering. I love that they're like
Yeah.
two, like an old married couple. And like
Mhm.
they lost a whole bottle of fucking spray paint. That's so funny. When they reveal their faces, like Meryl Streep's eyebrows, like the skin peeling off, it's fucking grotesque. It's great. And I guess they're like made of stone now. I guess that's probably what they did to Helen when she had the big hole in her. Is filled her up with cement.
Concrete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in the spray paint can scene with Ernest that he's like draining her blood and he's doing like formaldehyde and stuff. So like I don't
Yeah.
really know how corpses work exactly, but I'm willing to believe that a body that is dead and still kicking has tissue dead enough that it could just like snap off like that. So I mean, we saw back to Cole Sprouse and Lisa Frankenstein. We saw that sometimes body parts just go missing, you know?
A clear
So-
reference.
And like Helen said, Madeline lost her finger that one time, and she was like, I didn't lose it, it broke off. So like these things happen, okay?
It just happens, you know? No one's to
Sometimes
blame.
It happens.
Their skin elasticity went away a long time ago. Now things just are brittle.
I just thought it was so hilarious that bit came back and then they literally just exploded into smithereens and her head's like
yanks her, yeah.
spinning with like the fucking like car hub sound, you know, that's
Mhm.
always like, do you know where you parked the car? Bitch, how are you gonna get to the car? So good.
This has clearly happened to them
Just-
before, so they're like,
Yeah.
their hand will like eventually crawl and like put them back together, is my guess.
Just like in
the perfect
Twilight.
ending.
Yeah.
Again, you gotta burn the bodies
yeah.
if you don't want them to reassemble themselves. They're gonna get out the rubber cement and they're gonna start doing the hard work, okay? Because they take care of each other. They paint each other's asses.
Would you paint my ass if I took this
Anything for
potion?
you,
Okay,
queen.
thank you,
Of
thank you.
course.
What kind of question is that?
Thank you.
Of course. I would love to paint your ass, actually. Let me know when.
I do it for
I'll
free
fly
right
out.
now. Yeah.
Spray tan, spray tan. I've got so many things. I got the mitt.
You saw in Couple to Thruple when he was buffing her butt. Monica, you'll see one day.
You'll all
Hopefully,
see.
if I can.
You'll
get my
all
license
see.
today. Okay, well, I think that's the end of the movie, so it's time to move into our segments. I can't control what happens next. How could this movie be gayer? She missed it. Look at that.
I know. I was like, she's not paying attention. Thank God we got through it. It's
Wow.
okay. You don't have to do it every time, Queen. Just when it feels right in your heart.
Wow.
But how could this movie be gayer? There's that scene when Helen has come over and she thinks that Madeline is dead, but we know that Madeline has reanimated herself already. And Ernest is like, no, she's upstairs. She's coming. She's gonna see you. And Helen is like, oh yeah, then tell her to come down here and give me a kiss on my. And she never finishes, but I can only assume she was gonna say mouth.
Poochie. Oh.
Oh.
Inner thigh.
Or her coochie. I mean, whatever.
Who said that? That was weird. Did you hear that weird ghost that entered the chat? Said something weird and then left. Anyway, it's probably just like the balloons and all that shit. So the
Yeah,
glitch.
yeah,
It was a glitch.
yeah.
Anyway, what's up? You were saying something?
But no, I mean, okay, this is what I said when I watched Jennifer's Body, Death Becomes Her double feature. In Jennifer's Body, they're like so psychosexually obsessed with each other that they can't realize what toxic friends they are and that they should not be together. In this movie, they're so psychosexually obsessed with each other that it keeps them apart, and they can't see that they like just want to be friends. Because when they finally get over that hump, like, yes, they still have tension sometimes, like, yes, they still beef sometimes, but like you said, it's like an old married couple. Like, they're meant to be together forever, and they're going to be giggling and kicking their feet about all kinds of stuff forever, but also sometimes they're going to push each other down the stairs because like we said, sometimes you just got to fight it out, okay?
Sometimes you have to big bonk your friend on the head with a shovel. You just have to do that
Sometimes you gotta fire a gun at your friend and blow a big hole in her stomach, and then she gets back up again.
Sometimes
Exactly.
you and your friends have to go to the funeral of your shared ex-lover and laugh and giggle in the
Mhm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
True. Too fucking true.
Yeah, I mean, I think they love each other so much for sure in a gay way, whether or not they are kissing.
All right. Yeah. No, 100%. I think that could have been another alternative ending where they realize that sooner and they just run away with each other. But it would be a completely different movie. But I would also watch that movie, to be clear. The movie where we don't even have Ernest and no one dies. And it's not called Death Becomes Her then, I guess.
It's called Eternal Road Trip.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Wow.
But yeah, I
Sydney,
mean,
your
we talk
mind
so
is
often.
beautiful.
We talk so often in movies where someone is sleeping with their bestie's husband about how it's like a stand-in for sleeping with your bestie. I don't even think that's what's happening here. Like, I think it's literally just like, I want to hurt your it's not I want to be with you and I don't realize that. It's like, I do know how I feel about you, but I want to hurt you because you hurt me first. And so like all of the men are not people to them even a little bit. Like, they don't exist to them. Those are just vehicles for expressing their emotions towards each other.
Good for them. That's healthy.
They're the only real people to each other in this world.
That is true. And it's clearly obvious when she's been in therapy for 6 months. And all she can do is talk about that.
And all she can talk about is Madeline. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think they're very gay together.
It's very clear. It's
Ernest
very
also looks a
clear,
little
and-
gay.
He's a bisexual man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that could have been another thing that could have been gayer in his second chapter of his life. Life starts after 50. He rebrands. He's gay with a man. Sorry, Tracy Ullman. You weren't going to be in it anyway. And that could have been revealed at the end. And I would have really liked that too. A little
It's
retcon
actually
for
a
ya.
couple to thruple reference. He has his wife Claire and their 6 children and their boyfriend Paolo.
Paolo. That would be the name, yes.
Sing for me,
Precisely.
Paolo.
Precisely. But yeah, I mean, there's no question, like, this movie is gay, even though no one is queer in it. I mean, well, okay, that guy who refers her to Liesel, he's gay.
And his little eye twitch is so funny too when he's talking about the natural laws.
Tom, Dick,
So
and
Every time
Harry,
they
all
that's another bit the
bisexual.
movie has. Another movie the bit that has is all talking about the natural laws and how they violate them all the time. And when he says that when she's dead and she goes, wait, I know what's happening.
Tom, Dick, and Harry are bisexual, Sydney.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
For
Sorry, I
sure.
missed that.
100%. Brilliant idea. Correct. Okay. Any
I
more
think
gay thoughts?
that's like
Oh,
a
sorry. There are.
poly
Continue.
quad relationship for sure with Liesel and her Tom Dixon Harrys.
Definitely. They're all fucking and they're all fucking her. Love that for
Mhm.
them.
In their little outfits. That's
In
so
their little
bisexual.
I love a
Yeah.
little outfit. Just sorry, real quick. It is also so funny when she makes such a big deal getting out of the pool to cover herself up with the towel so you don't see her boobs. And then she's like, JK, here they are. Drops it immediately.
It's
I saw it.
about presentation, okay?
It was hilarious. It was so funny. It was so funny. Keeping you guessing, keeping you on your toes. But any more gay thoughts?
So many gay thoughts.
Okay, Matthew Lillard, where would he go in this film? He could
He'd be an
be in the
incredible Ernest.
Oh, he would be such a good Ernest. He would
Uh,
be such a good Ernest. Wow.
I think he could
Yeah.
also be a funny doctor who is like, "You're dead," and then dies.
Mm.
That could be really good. He would be great as like if it was back in 1992, like playing one of the cameo characters at the party or being one of the bisexual
He
corset
could be
boys.
one of
Dick,
the
or
Tom,
Harry.
Dick, or Harry.
Yes.
Mhm.
I prefer the
He could
phrase
be
bisexual
Paolo at the
corset
end
boy.
of the film.
Mm.
Oh yeah, he could be Paolo. I would love that.
He could be her little hot piece of ass who's like, "Actually, I can't be with you anymore."
Mm.
Ooh,
Oh my
that
god,
would be a really good
1992.
one.
Matthew Lillard as the pool boy for sure.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
But
Okay,
he
that
would
brings us.
he'd be an incredible Ernest if we were making it again today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
he
would be
would,
perfect. Like
actually.
right now, they should do that.
He
I'm not
would
always
nail it.
pro
Remake?
remakes. They could do something fun with this. I don't know. I don't know if
I
I wanted
think-
to touch it. It's literally
think
perfect.
they're
I like
going
how
to.
fucked up it is. Oh god.
Really?
I think I saw something.
Beth becomes her remake.
Okay, you already typed it.
It's
faster.
on the remake slab, but in an unlikely place, is what it says.
Mm.
Oh, it also said someone comic book resources wrote Death Becomes Her should be remade with Kate Hudson. Jessica
That'd be fun.
Chastain is also interested in a Death Becomes Her remake. Somebody
Ooh,
suggested
oh my
Kate
God.
Hudson and Anne Hathaway because that's interesting. I was like, Maddie Lily would be great as Ernest, but I don't know who I would cast as Mad and Hell. But there are lots of good options out there for sure, and like
The thought of
I was
Jessica
talking about
Chastain got
Anne
me heated.
Hathaway. Yeah.
That got me
Jessica Chastain, Bryce Dallas Howard, maybe we can do a little of their like little doppelganger shit. But Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, we could get a little Devil Wears Prada reunion. You know, I think there's a lot of iconic duos we could do this with, and you know, sometimes a remake, it's like that's not necessary. We have the original, and then sometimes it's like, well, having a remake is not going to delete the original. So actually, I'll take 45 versions of this, please.
Why can't we just have fun?
Why
we just
can't
a
girls
little
have fun?
little fun
Yeah.
time? Yeah. Don't take this from us. Okay, are we ready for dumb bitch?
It's obviously Ernest.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, he's
I
kind of.
don't think it- I think he gets an honorable mention because of the phone call thing, and
And also the whole beginning of the movie.
yes, definitely. But I think that well,
does
it's
kinda turn it around.
society. The dumb bitch is society that made these women long so deeply for eternal youth that they would destroy any other aspect of their life to obtain it. There you go. I said it in
The
a
dumb
beautiful
bitch
voice,
is
so
a
it's true.
society that values wealth and class above all and made a young Helen think of her best friend as cheap and eternally turns them against each other. What happened to accepting people of all kinds, you know? So
That's right.
that's part of it as well.
It is.
A society that thinks we only have value if we're young and rich and beautiful.
That's it. That's the dumb bitch.
That's the dumb bitch.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our knives out of fives. We already heard that this was not well regarded, but I guess let me know what it looks like nowadays.
I was going to say, everybody that says any bad thoughts or words against this movie, I curse your bloodline.
Oh my god, careful, because I've really been dabbling in dark magic lately, and I think I'm getting too powerful.
Yeah, I curse your
Ooh.
bloodline if you don't love this movie.
Be careful because I was gonna
Watch
name my
out.
cat the demon name from The Exorcist. I didn't because my friend was like, "You can't be saying the names of demons out
All
loud."
the
It's like,
time.
again, Monica.
You can't be summoning them
Again.
into your home. Yeah, it's a bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad.
Monica, again? Really?
Yeah, yeah. You
You were
gotta
there
watch
for the
out.
Hereditary episode when I said all that shit, and then I like spoke demon words out loud on the pod. Anyway, we're all cursed now. If you listened, it's over. Sorry.
I don't accept that cursed over the internet. I think that's contained to your household. That's a you problem.
Well, then that will really derail your theory for doing a Ring remake where it goes viral on TikTok.
Mm, that's a good point. Anyway,
Major throwback. Keep going. Tell us
yes.
the stats. Sorry.
That was a really good throwback. No, that was an iconic throwback. Okay, so numbers. This movie has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 55% from critics, which is rotten. And it has a little bit better from audiences. It has 61%, which is fresh, but like barely. That said, again, this movie did win an Oscar. Yes, it's for visual effects and not any of the other categories, but an Oscar is an
Deserved.
Oscar, baby.
Yeah.
And it was nominated for
Absolutely.
a Golden Globe as well in 1993 for Best Performance by an Actress in a Comedy or Musical for Meryl Streep. Like, she did not win, but she was nominated. So, they also got acknowledgments and nominations for like some science fiction fantasy awards and some like comedy awards. So there was recognition. It wasn't like critical acclaim exactly.
Mhm.
But people, it was kind of a flop, but people also kind of enjoyed it and saw some value in it at least. And money wise, we kind of touched on this earlier, but it had a $55 million budget, and it was, quote, a moderate success at the box office because it earned 58.4 million domestically and 90.6 million internationally. So like it got its budget back and more. Not what they were hoping for sure, but you know, it was a, quote, moderate success. So that said, it is again a queer cult classic. So, you know, that is
The most
beautiful.
important
We love
thing.
it. We're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the quotes from this movie are just unstoppable. So
Truly unstoppable. I mean, I'm just gonna go first and get it out of the way. I don't have much to say. 5 out of 5. This is
Mhm.
just a joy. There's nothing you could change. It's perfect. I mean, time, the things we talked about that were bad withstanding. But like it's a time capsule. It's from 1992. I thank God it exists. I miss when they used to take risks with movies, you know what I mean? And give you something truly fucking weird. I love it.
Bring the
5 out of 5.
weird camp stuff back.
Bring
Yes,
it back.
we need it.
This is also
We need it.
This is a 5 out of 5. I'm sorry, this movie is so good.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it is just flawless perfect.
And it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun to watch. It's so easy to rewatch.
Yes.
That's the best.
And it makes such a good pair with so many other films.
Yes. There's so
Great
much to notice
Halloween
more every time.
costumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
It's
necklace thing is
incredibly
fun.
camp. It has incredible potential for Halloween, for costume parties, for just pop culture references. It is an iconic movie, and like Monica referenced there, like sure there are some problematic elements, but even still I kind of think like
That's fine. It was the 90s.
that's part of the camp nature of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it really
It's
is.
I don't know that you like would even want to do things super radically differently in a remake. It's kind of baked into the DNA of the movie, and I think it is like kind of a different conversation than like a different fat suit movie would be. So I just think this movie it's a slay in every regard. And
A
I think
slay in every regard.
slay in
What
every
a
regard.
Slay.
word.
It look up slay in the dictionary, you will find this movie. So I think that is what it is. I think it's a 5 knives out of 5 movie.
Amazing. Perfect. Oh my god, it really hurts my feelings that I'm not introducing the next movie.
Well, you introduced this movie.
I know, so I
And
can't say it, but I can ad lib
couldn't
after.
possibly do a back to back. Yeah, and I don't think I've done one in a while actually. So
Go
I'm
Chelsea.
just
Go
It was
Chelsea,
right
yeah,
go
I'm
there.
Chelsea,
launching
go.
myself into this position. Yay! Because up next we're doing a movie that I've heard a lot about and I've been kind of interested in but like nervous to check out a little. But I really like this actor. I've seen him in a lot of other things. And do you know who directed, is he also the director of the, no. Okay, sorry. He's just the star. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But we are doing a 2014 movie that a lot of people have asked us to do, I think, over the years at this point.
One of them
And it's
being
just
me.
much discussed. One of them being Monica, and it is Creep. Creep from 2014, starring Mark Duplass. Oh, and his wife is in it, Katie Aselton. So,
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm excited to do
yeah, they're
research
also in
on
The
this
League
one.
together, which is where I know both of them from because I watched The League. But I'm very excited to see him. It's not my first time seeing him in something spooky, because I love The One I Love, although is that horror? That's a different question. It's one of those kind of weird space ones. So I'm really excited to see him in like something that is for sure horror and see what it's all about. I don't really know. I just know that
He gives a
everybody
hell of a
recommends
performance
it.
in this one. It's really impressive.
Yeah,
I'm
people
excited.
rave about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm so glad we're going back to found footage. I've been trying to get us to do more 2010s movies too, so we're hitting them both in one.
Two birds, one
I'm so stoked.
stone.
I hope you guys like it. I really do. I think you will, but
You'll find
I've
out
been
next
wrong a lot of
week.
times. Okay, poll question. Death becomes her poll question. Would you?
Was she
drink
gonna say
potion?
kiss on the mouth or on the coochie?
Coochie.
That's it.
Which
Done.
one was she gonna say? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure other people also thought what I thought. So, I mean, not me, that weird voice that entered the chat for a second there. Oh my God. Okay. Well, if you're also confused about the poll question thing, because we haven't explained that in a while, go on Spotify and there are poll questions and write-in questions that are right there when you listen. And you know what else is right there? The opportunity for you to give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or review on any other thing. Leo, who is the only one who did Audible, the review on Audible, is challenging you all to be the second review on Audible. Okay, so think about that. You've been challenged. Do you accept?
You've been challenged.
I'm sure that a lot of people use Audible for podcasts. I have heard of that before, of course. So it might happen. But anyway, any review really helps us with our reach. So we would really appreciate it. And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on pretty much everything, especially YouTube, where we are looking beautiful for hours at a time every week.
Monica
imagine
truly
that?
looks so beautiful this week. So
She
Oh
does.
my God, thank you. Should I dye my hair black? No, I will
should
not.
you
No.
look like this all the time? Yeah.
Should
always
I
wear this?
dye my hair black and cut it into a bob? Oh my God, no.
Should I
The
have
dark
a
eyebrows,
breakdown and
the
change my
pink
life?
cheeks, the red lip. It's a sleigh.
Thank you so much. I luckily had all of the things to make her makeup, and I have several wigs.
Show them your
Sydney, I'm
ear.
pretty sure this is your wig.
From
Show them your ear cuff.
oh yeah.
Oh, I even have, she wears these cool ear cuffs, and I have ear cuffs that are very similar that were my grandma's. Shout out to Adeline. But yeah, anyway, you could see all of that and more on YouTube if you subscribe. And also we're on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And did I miss anything? No, that's it. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, spookies.
You're going to be very popular in prison.
Prison.
Prison. Do you know what they do to soft, bald, overweight Republicans in prison, Ernest?
I'll get the shovels, dear.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Haidt, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamra, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at _the_moon_omg.